Welcome to another episode of the Office Altering Hire and Empower with Molly McGrath podcast. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. If you're a first-time listener, hopefully you'll become a long-time listener. As always, I'm your show host, Molly McGrath, founder of Hiring and Empowering Solutions and creator of this revolutionary podcast. You can check us out at hiringandempowering.com. All right, Janine Zappini, I am so excited to have you here today for our monthly mindset and the law firm admin boot camp, having you here on our podcast. And we met through EO and on a what's a group that Brooke Lively got together? It's a woman in EO, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that was the one.
Yes. Yeah, so I attended, we do a monthly mastermind, and I attended the very first one, and you were one of the speakers. And as soon as I heard you speaking about being the CEO of your family, of your household, being a woman, we have many single women that are raising children in here. We have women that are on the rise into leadership. And I know you speak to men as well because the struggle's real, right? You have a full-time job, you're
Yeah.
leading teams, you're trying to make more money, you're trying to enhance your personal and professional growth. And then if you're working in a brick and mortar office and you have to go home and do it all over again. If you're working from home, that brings whole other challenges. And when I heard you speak at that mastermind, like, this is what we're talking about in open coaching hours with all of our team members, with all of our attorneys, what have you. Like, the struggle is real. We can talk about time management and all that all day long, but it is like rearranging chairs on this deck of the sinking Titanic on the daily. And there's one thing, time. Everybody's measuring time. I'm so busy. I don't have enough time, blah, blah, blah. And I know you're going to get into this. You're going to talk about your book and, the resource that I'm really passionate about people paying attention to before time and money is energy.
Mm.
And like the soul sucking energy, because that I think is our greatest resource. I know you're going to get into it today. We're talking about empowered parents unlocked. We're talking about work life alignment, which I love, versus balance, because that's like just a deck of cards, and really talking about a 2024 success blueprint for leaders, how to enhance leadership efficiency and harmony. So I am so delighted to have you here. I know I was on your podcast last week and we had an
Yes, thank
amazing
you.
chat. I loved it. I had
Amazing.
no idea the conversation was going to go there. So in this podcast, in the back end of the academy, I'll also put a link to that podcast, and I'll put all the tools and the presentations below as well. So please kick us off. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really delighted to have the opportunity to bring this topic to you guys today and to open up a space where it's okay and wanted to talk about these challenges because it is a challenge that seems like it hasn't been allowed to be a topic in society, that it
Mm,
is a struggle to have challenges with aligning work and life and family. And we tend to, as business owners, we tend to find ourselves because we live such extreme lives to always have one or the other. And we always find like we never give enough time to work or to family. And it's usually especially when you are in a leading role or you have your own business and you are an executive or somewhat have major responsibilities in a business, that you tend to give a lot more energy towards that way. And we kind of forget about the family side. Not that we don't care, it's just what happens. That's where most of the energy goes. And there's just so much focus we can give, and we can get really lost in that process and forget that we get so educated on the business side that we forget that there's a lot of education and focus that can go exactly the same way to our family life as well. So it's really quite simple once we have the tools. It's the same in business. We learn certain tools that are practical and applicable to our work life. And this is just like, I'm not reinventing a wheel. These are all proven tools that really work, that work in the family environment as well as business environment. And we just found a way to connect it so there is an alignment, there is a connection there, and it works. So it's not learning
Mm.
something completely new, it's just more about the awareness and bringing the practical tools to that element of life and helping you to be empowered in your position as a leader as well as in your family environment, where you might be the CEO of your family or your partner might be the CEO of your family, and just being empowered as a couple, as a single parent, no matter what your role or position is in that environment. But it's all about the empowerment of that. So thank you for being here. Yeah.
And I just want to grab on something because I can feel,
Mm,
when I hear people say, "Oh, it's a very simple," and people shut down, like, "You don't understand my world. You don't know my world." And I love what you said about that. They're not brand new tools. However, they are simple when they are matched with like a commitment to wanting something different. I remember at our EO
mm,
retreat that I went to last year here in Colorado,
mm,
the keynote speaker that they had here, they said there's one word that I would boil down all success. So an EO, for anyone listening, you have to have at least $1 million of revenue that you've generated, right? So we're talking about single moms here, raising children, blah, blah, blah. So it's possible. If it's possible, challenge, 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 challenge. But the word that came up that I love, that I just want to highlight and grab on, because when people hear simple, they're like, oh, screw you. You don't know my world. Like, but everybody has their stuff that they're managing: lack of money, bills piling up, not enough time,
mm,
like the soul crushing overwhelm. The one word that put on the screen, which she had everyone, what do you think it is? Discipline. What do you think it is? A strategic roadmap, money, CFO. And she's like, nope, execution. And
mhm.
that was a one word, which, in the legal world, my clients, they use the word implementation, and it's the same thing. So I love that, because when you say it's simple, it is simple when it's matched with a commitment to, I'm in hell. And one thing that one of my coaches in EO talks about is, you're in awareness hell if you're not taking action. So you're just spinning the drain. I just wanted to grab onto that.
Yeah, yeah, just quickly on that, and I know then we have to start, but I'm also not someone who sits down and reads all the books. I don't have time for that. I don't have patience for it. I can't keep the focus on reading books, and they're just not practical for me. I'm a practical person. I just want solutions. And I think nowadays we're also busy. We just want solutions. Just give me the solutions. I don't want to read the whole book. So for me, it's always around practical tools and how to apply them. So the book that I wrote, Empowered Parents Unlocked, is really simple, basic topics with just a page or two of an introduction and understanding what it means. And it's all followed with practical worksheets that you can apply to your own world and work on that yourself. And it has nothing to do with parenting or how to run a family. This is about empowering the individual on personal development and self nurturing so you can then become a better partner, a better parent, a better family member, a better person for your loved ones. So this is all about personal empowerment, to focus on that.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I guess that brings me to when people say, you don't know my world. Well, I don't know anyone's world, and I don't think anyone knows anyone's world, no matter how close they are, because you just don't know how you feel, what's going on in your mind, your mindset. You're going through all of these different phases. As women, we go through 4 seasons in an entire month. There's just so much going on, but I have also gone through a lot, which brings me to where I am now. I come from an entrepreneurial family. I've grown up with a grandfather who's been an entrepreneur. I've always been very ambitious, learning. I've worked for so many different businesses, from small businesses to corporations. I founded my first business about 15 years ago. I founded a few businesses since. I have grown businesses successfully. I have lost a business through very, very extreme adversity, challenges, and experiences I've faced. I have become a single mom through a pandemic and global lockdown. There is a lot to that story that brought me there and what I've experienced along the way. I do understand pain. I understand loneliness. I understand pressure. I understand desperation. I work with parents every day, all day long. I hear all of the stories, and every single one is unique. You cannot prepare for an individual situation and what they're going through, but nor do I have to in my position, nor do I need to understand all of that. That comes with different coaching techniques. But what I've developed is a way to empower the individual so they can then take that empowerment and make their family and work life experience what they need. So because I have come, or I am from a business background, I understand the pressures and the focus on that. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a single mom, and I do all of this. So I understand the need to find an alignment between the two to make that work every single day. And this is really something I practice every day because you can get lost in this. So for me, I use my own book and my own tools every day. And sometimes you get stuck in a rut in a routine that takes you somewhere else with things shifting and changing in your family dynamic or with things you have to do in a day. So I take the tools back and I go back to certain topics and will revisit them to kind of get myself back on track. So the objective of today's workshop is to focus on increased self-awareness. So self-awareness will be one big topic for today, understanding your own leadership styles and personal values, as well as goal settings will be one of them to align personal and professional goals. And last but not least will be strategic time management and daily routine to optimize daily schedules and time management strategies to improve productivity. Why that is relevant? Because understanding your inner dynamics to deep dive into personal thoughts and emotions and strength and weaknesses is so crucial in today's age because we can get so lost in the busyness of the day so that we will not reflect on how personal attributes influence leadership style and decision making. Then values and belief, to explore personal values and beliefs and their impact on business and ethics, and especially culture, a very big point. Honest assessment of behaviors and their effects on team dynamics and company moral to really find an alignment between those two enhances emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. Then identifying personal triggers and response patterns in high pressure situations, they also very much align. If you really think about what triggers you in your family environment and in your business life. So, for example, something that really triggers me is when I have to repeat myself, when someone asks me continuously the same question. And that is something that has a fun line because kids do that a lot. They will do ask the same question. So you have to be I'm very aware that I get triggered when I get asked the same questions over and over again. So me having that self-awareness that I understand where it's coming from really helps me to process when I do get triggered and what to do with that situation. Cultivating authenticity and empathy is essential for building trust and respect within teams. So it leads to more genuine and effective communication and team collaboration. So that connection is very important. These are also all tools that are very relevant to your family environment and how to apply them because the dynamics at work and at family are a lot more similar than we sometimes think. The mindset shift towards positivity is shifting from limiting beliefs to a growth mindset. So it's crucial for overcoming business challenges. Same with family life, that when you face challenges there, it encourages resilience, innovation, and a forward thinking approach in leadership. And then there's when you're peeling back layers of expectations to rediscover true leadership and styles and aspirations, it aligns personal and professional growth and it leads to more meaningful and impactful leadership. So, when we start with self awareness for work life harmony, is bridging professional excellence and family life. So, if you discover how self awareness is key in harmonizing your role as a leader at work and within your family dynamic at the same time. When you recognize how self awareness informs decisions impacting both career and family life, understanding the influence of personal values and biases in professional and family interactions that reflect on how your leadership decision at work affects your family life and vice versa. So, that decision making, the balance between those two, and how you do that, being aware of how you do that, is very much integrated on a personal and a leadership or business level. A key in both arenas of emotional intelligence and leadership and parenthood is exploring the role of emotional intelligence and understanding team dynamics and family relationships, acknowledging and manage emotions for effective communication at work and home, leveraging empathy to building strong connections with both work and your team and family members. So, one thing that I have learned at maybe when I was around mid 20s, and that was my last corporate job, was one of my mentor. He taught me something that he had learned from Stephen Covey. If you haven't heard from him, wrote incredible business and leadership and self awareness books. And the line I've never forgotten was seek to understand first and then to be understood. Like that line still lives with me. I live by that every day, and it serves me so well in as a leader in a business environment, when I do business, when I negotiate, when I do deals with my child, with my family, with anyone I'm interacting with. When I come from a position where I seek to understand first, then I know exactly how to communicate, then to be understood, because I know how they think. Not everyone thinks the same way. I had a discussion just the other day about how we think someone said, oh, you know how women or men, they just expect you to be a certain way, but we only know what we know. If you're very psychologically aware and analytical, and I always sort of had that my whole life, that I would analyze and really wanting to understand. If you have that, you can kind of think about how people may think or feel if you're very empathetic. But if you are not, you have to understand, you have to ask a lot of questions and see where someone is coming from, because we only see things from our perspective, and they're always based on experiences that we make throughout our lifetime. So if we have had a bad experience in a certain situation, we will see it that way. And someone else might not even think about that at all. And we just expect them to think that way. And then we might get upset about it for no reason. So that awareness to communicate that way is really crucial to a successful family life and in a business environment as well. Aligning personal and professional goals, so harmonizing career aspirations with family values, is to set goals that align with your professional and ambitions and your family needs. So if you balance personal and development with family growth and create a synergy between your career and trajectory and family journey. Mindset plays a really big role for resilience in work and family life. If you're cultivating resilience for all facets of life, so if you develop a mindset that promotes resilience and facing challenges at work and with family life, like really having a positive way of approaching something. So Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. Like mindset, you can choose to get up in the morning and be a certain way. So I'm not someone, people ask me this all the time. Do you wake up like this? You're always smiling, you're chirpy, you're this, you're that. But it's really not. So when I wake up, I I always have doubts. It's always been like that. I have nightmares at night. I wake up and I'm already anxious. I may have forgotten something or someone, or I'm behind
Mm,
something. I'll get in trouble. I'm a very anxious person that way. And I wake up and I already have bad feelings. I'm always like, oh, and I feel like, and I really shouldn't. I turn on my phone. I work between crazy time zones all the time, so I check my phone all the time and check, oh, maybe I forgot something, maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. But my point is,
mm,
I'm very aware of that. I acknowledge that's what I'm thinking. I'm very focused and diligent in the mornings. I get up and I brush my teeth and get myself ready. I listen to positive things on YouTube or podcasts or on Spotify. or a video of some sort and do affirmations. And then I will sit down with a cup of tea and I will do my journaling. I have a journal that I developed myself that works really well for me and other people as well, that guides me through a whole process, to shift my mindset, to focus on the positive things, to have some gratitude, to acknowledge what I've done right, what my intentions are for the day. So it's a whole process of shifting my thoughts and my feelings towards something positive for the day. And it just helps me every day to really focus on the positivity and approach things in a positive manner. I'm expecting the best. I want to do the best. I'm not having, when I find myself not having that mindset, I fall back and things don't work out so well. So that focus I always tend to have every day. So these are worksheets that you will be able to download later. These are part of the worksheets I have in my book. And my book also always has like these pages. It has an example from myself for every worksheet. So there's something in there that's relatable, but this is a worksheet that really helps you to get into that self-awareness phase. These are questions that you can think about yourself on how to, what works for you, who are you, things you haven't thought about. So for example, when I had my businesses for many, many years before I even had a child, I learned all of these business tools like core values, and I had so much awareness about my business, my why and my what and my who and my the core values, all the things that we learn, and I knew all of that. And then I personally wasn't so relevant actually in this whole equation because it was always about the business. Like most of my friends had businesses. It was always, we knew this stuff. And then I had a child. And then when you have a child, you think about, what do I stand for? What am I trying to teach my child? How do I want to raise my child? So the question of like, what are my personal core values? There's a real good chance that when you are in a leadership position or you have your own business, your personal core values will, to a very high degree, align with your work core values. But there will be some sort of differences. And having that awareness of what you believe in and who you are in your personal life will also help you set boundaries in your business life and align that better as well. Meaning, for example, I have a core value that I personally have, which is freedom. And some core values align, like independence. I'm very independent in my career, but I don't have that much freedom in my business role because I have a lot of responsibilities. I have a lot of responsibilities for my child as well, but we can create a life around the freedom that I seek for myself that is very important to me. So, one of the questions in this worksheet would be, for example, what are your top core values that guide your life? How do these values manifest in your thoughts and actions? So, this is really about who you are and who you are as a person, because you in your personal life is just as important as in your professional life to understand, what do I stand for? So when you are a leader in your business, do you stand for people need to work till like 10 p.m. and this is what I'm expecting? I want them blood, sweat, and tears, or do I want to lead by example and teach them efficiency and values of, I respect your personal life, and they get to have that as well. And you encourage them to stay home when they're sick or when there's something going on with your families. Do you then see how they might be performing better at work because there's this respect and appreciation for them? Like, what sort of leader are you? Because you are also a leader in your family environment, and you don't have to be a parent for this. You are always someone is looking up to, and that could be a chosen family, like someone who you care for deeply, that you spent a lot of time with. A lot of us have a chosen family as much as we might have our parents. Maybe you have siblings, maybe you have a favorite aunt and uncle, maybe you do have kids, maybe you're a role model to your nephew, nieces, or to your best friend's kids. It doesn't really matter, but you will always have a fine balance between personal core values and business core values. But there's a lot more in here. There's one question is to consider a recent challenging situation or conflict. How did you react to that? What emotions did it trigger? Are there any reoccurring patterns or triggers in your responses? How can you better understand and manage your reactions in the future? We don't often think about this. We just tend to be so busy because it's all about get things done. In today's society, I don't think in humanity we have been as busy as we are now, because we have social media, we have the internet. We It's not about writing letters anymore and sending letters for weeks and waiting for a response. This is instant. This is at lifetime. This is like anywhere around the world. We can pick up the phone. We can like we There's so much we get done, and our expectations keep rising, and the pressures we're putting ourselves under and that we have because we're just doing. We often don't check in and see how we're feeling or what it might do to us. So many of us, we find ourselves in burnout and we don't even know where it's coming from. To be very open and vulnerable right now, is a few months ago, I had real anxiety and heart palpitations that came out of nowhere. I thought I was completely fine. My thoughts were fine, but then there were a few things happening in my life that I kind of just pushed under the carpet because it's always there. If you listen to Molly, my podcast, we actually had a topic that came up, the pressures of being a single mom and always having this anxiety around providing and
Ugh,
finances and other
yes,
topics, and that it never goes away. That's a
never.
big one for me. Someone asked me the other day, what is my biggest fear? And my biggest fear is that I have real worries about not being able to provide for my family, and that is real. I think Molly can relate. It's I don't think it will ever go away. And I think most parents can relate, and that is taking care of your family and your child and making sure that they're healthy. And so
Mm. I
everyone
think it'll never go away, but with the tools and what we're talking about today, like you said, waking up and you're anxious the second, it's the
yeah,
tools that you implement where it's never going to go away. But the second you're like, okay, I know what this niggle's about. This is
yes,
an old, friend, so to speak. And you're like,
yeah.
okay, name it. And then be like, it's always there. But the second you can just name it and then implement what you're going to talk about today to really calm it down.
Exactly. So to exactly make that point, when I
Mm,
noticed that I was having heart palpitations all of a sudden, and that really freaked me out because I would have that for days and weeks at a time, and it would get worse, and I was really worried. And the second I had the awareness that I have it and where it came from, it went away, because it was this consciousness and just trigger pointing it and just really understanding, and I could work with that because I knew all of a sudden. So that's why self-awareness is so important, because so we do not get triggered like this, like mentally, emotionally, physically, we can handle it better because we know ourselves better that way, and we can deal with that. This worksheet is 3 pages long. I will not go through all of this because we don't have time for that, but we will share, or Molly will share, this presentation with you later on. There will be a link, I believe, or an email, and you will have these examples as well. And I will later share a link with you where you can download these worksheets, and then you can take this and do these exercises yourself. Next up is goals. The importance of goal setting throughout your day, and the goal setting to have that ability to plan your day in business. We often do that in business. We have a massive to-do list, and maybe you do that in your personal life as well. But I show you why it is so important to have real goals planned and how to structure and manage them throughout your day. to for a lot more efficiency and focus, and not feeling so overwhelmed in your life and in your day. So it's to explore how effective goal setting can transform both your career and your family life, aligning aspirations with tangible achievements, so you can steer your success or your professional and family life to a much more balanced environment. Clarity in that is really important, where you understand exactly what your goals are, and we get into that where it's so important to categorize, even like, because we often think about, well, we need to do all of these things, and you kind of start somewhere because you're manic and the list is too long and you technically won't be able to do everything. But why the clarity of what really is important and what you really have to do and structure through that is so important, like the understanding the importance of clear goals for your personal and professional development. The Fueling your motivation with goal visualization. Why the visualization of that is so important is to leverage the power of mental imagery, like really focus on the picture of that to strengthen your motivation towards your goals. Because when we actually think about what goals we're setting for ourselves and visualize it, and we can kind of see it and feel it, and like the motivation for that is very different. Or you can even think about, oh, you know what, like I don't think I like that so much. I thought of it was nice, but maybe when you really get into the image of that and the clarity of that, maybe it's something that you might not find so interesting anymore. But with that awareness is really key. The focus and the prioritization to sharpen your focus with the defined goals is to learn and to prioritize actions that align with your family and your career objectives, like filter distractions and channel energy towards impactful activities, balance work and responsibilities with family commitments through focused goal setting, like really focus on the details of that. And you can really make that a family activity where you sit down, you can do businesses do goal settings for the year, and they structure that out and map it out. And a lot of my friends, they sit down with their family and they do, okay, I have these business things happening in the year. I have these travels, I have these meetings, I have like these hours in the day, but then they can do the same goal setting and the same scheduling and mapping with their family, where they go, what do we want to do this year? Do you want to go on this holiday? When should we do that? Like, it's just things to look forward to. Or you have that soccer game on the weekend, so we'll go there. And then we can go shopping around this time. And you have a plan for work life and you have a plan for family life. It brings me to the strategic planning and I guess the confidence building, because with that comes confidence, because you have a plan. Plans will always change, but you have a plan, and that keeps you confident in your role in your professional work as well as in your family dynamic, because you kind of know where you're going. There will always be distractions and side roads where you get off, but you know where to go back to. You develop strategic plans for achieving both career and family milestones, and to boost your confidence as you progress towards these goals. There's also worksheets for this. So I call it the master goals, that has, for example, um, milestones on how you will know when it is accomplished. So you go through exactly, let's say, you have a big project that you want to do, and you can use this for work and for personal life. So if you have a big project and you go through exactly this to make a project plan, you do the same with your family. You can use exactly the same tools for work and for your family. So you write down what it is. So I use an example for, I was just something very simple. I was planning a birthday party for my child. So that's also a good thing. You can do this with your kids or with your partner or with someone in your family or whatever. If you do this, okay, eh, my uncle has his daughter's 21st birthday, so they can do these tools. Okay, you want to have a birthday party, this is what we can do. So how will you know when it's accomplished? Achievable would be, how can the goal be accomplished? Like, what do you need to do? The specifics, what do I want to accomplish? The time bound, when can I accomplish this goal? The evaluable, how much you can measure this goal, how will you measure this goal? And the relevance, does this seem worthwhile. You can do that with, like, it's a really good exercise to understand your goals and what you will do from that. So for example, I wrote, okay, I used this for my son's birthday. You set 5 major goals that you want to accomplish. And again, this could be a work project, this could be a family or a personal thing that you're trying to do. So you can also use it for something where you have like big achievements, something big you want to accomplish. In your year, if you do year planning. So you write down your 5 major goals, and then in the second step you set yourself a deadline against it. When do you want this accomplished, to make sure you have it all done by the time this goal is supposed to be done. And then you make a big list of things you need to do to make these points happen. And these lists can get very overwhelming and confusing. And what you need to do with that is you need to structure them out. So you write down on the left all of the things you need to do to make them happen. You attach a deadline next to it. And then you go through it exactly. You go through the dates and then you tick them off. And all this ticking off is just so soothing and therapeutic when you do it. There's some apps for that you can use. I still like to use these sheets, but you can put them in apps. There's something like Asana. You can use that for work, but just ticking it off is just such a good feeling. And I also like when you can go, I did 13 of these. When I was working in corporate, I was always worried about, because a lot of people would get fired all the time. So I would keep these lists in a notebook every single day. And if anyone would question what I do, I could show them exactly what I did. That was just my fears, my worries. But this is also very nice to go. By the end of the day, we're so busy, we don't always know what we did. So if you keep a list and you can look at the list going, I don't remember what I did, but you look at it and you go, I did so much today. And I'm really pleased with myself. And I'm very proud of what I did. It's just such a beautiful way to reflect on the day and just being really grateful and having a lot of appreciation for everything that you do, because your day does get filled up a lot. So, if you are struggling with how to prioritize all of your tasks, this is again, this is work, this is family life. There are a lot of long lists of things to do at home, and there could be chores in the house, there could be different projects or whatever you might be doing, or you managing your team and then you have to do this project that you're working on or a new client that you took on, and there's all these things that need to be done, and you can allocate it against people. But if you start with it, for example, and you go have all these things to do, you think about, okay, what do we need to do first? What is important and what is urgent? So you prioritize that. You go, okay, we do this first, and you might do it yourself. You might allocate it to some other people as well. Then you think about, okay, what is important but not so urgent? So you set a due date again. So you might go, okay, maybe I have to do this next week. So that goes in the green box. Then you think about what's not so important but very urgent, so you delegate it. It's not important for me, but someone else can do it. Someone in your team or someone else at home. Like for example, what's urgent but not so important is, well, the bin is stinky in the house, so it's urgent to bring it out because you or someone might pass out from the smell. But it's really not that important that someone might die. So you can ask your partner, your kid, your someone else to do that. And what if something is not important but also not very urgent, then you might just forget about it because it might not be completely relevant. When I look from a business perspective, when I have something that's not important and not very urgent, it might be just a project idea that I kind of do on the back burner. So I have a list for that. I actually don't delete it. A lot of people say delete it, but I use it as brainstorming. So if I had an idea for something, but it's not relevant for me right now, I might go back to that at some other time for some brainstorming. Go like, I thought that this was a good idea. If at that point I still don't like it anymore, I'll probably delete it. But I'm often use that as just a brainstorm. Oh, that was a good idea, but maybe I do it different, or maybe I just kind of leave that in that box. So this is a very, very good tool for you to delegate, to kind of split up your goals, your task, and prioritize them in different sections, just so not everything hangs on you. Or you can kind of also think about, maybe I should be doing this, and then this can go to someone else. Yeah, so these are the plain worksheets. Will be able to download them in through the link later. Then last but not least, we'll talk about strategic time management and daily routine. This is where you can really apply the tools and tasks that we have spoken about and structure them in your day. The importance of this is to find an alignment between work and family life, because often we have a calendar divided between work, and you might have a full calendar exactly what your workday looks like, your meetings, your calls, your tasks, or like your calendar might be full with stuff, but then you go home and it's just an explosion of tasks that you might have to do. Everyone wants something from you. You're overwhelmed, you're tired, you might have a partner at home that's just been waiting for you to come home and help at home, and all you want to do is retire for the day and be quiet, and then it's triggered. When you set a strategy of your time and managing your daily routine that is aligned with your work and family life, and the communication between the two can be so crucial of a really healthy mindset for you. So I give you an example. If you have like your calendar at home, and you can have this calendar shared with your family, or you can have a separate calendar and you show them, okay, my work is from this time to this time. And when I come home, I just need half an hour. That self awareness of you understanding this is what you need for yourself can be extremely crucial for you. Go like, I just need to sit down and I'd really like to have a cup of tea. And then you can all sit down with me, and then we can talk about like one by one, like how was your day? What was the good and the bad? What was whatever works for you guys, whatever needs to be done for you, for everyone to have their turn to talk, to for everyone to have that time to come down, to whatever it is you need, having that self-awareness and setting that time in your day that you can have that to manage that is really important for sanity. It really is just sanity, but it's structured sanity. So it's like for you to discover the transformative power of personal organizational planning and creating harmony between your professional and your family life. It's just very organized. um, Gaining clarity with organizational planning to understand how setting clear goals enhances focus in both work and family life, align daily actions with values and aspirations for a purpose driven life, and experience the motivational power of accomplishing tasks and moving closer towards your goals. The clarity of that, going back to the clarity, this is my favorite efficiency. For me, it's all about efficiency. Everything has to be efficient and planned. And I need to have like a guidance, but I like when it's efficient, which also why it triggers me when I have to repeat things and say things again. But if I can have my days as efficient as possible, that's when I feel good by the end of the day. But I'm very aware of that's what I need for myself. But it's also, if you want to have a lot of output, execute a lot, you have a lot of outcome in your day, you want it to be as efficient as possible. So you learn the art of scheduling to balance various responsibilities and self-care. You explore how effective time management leads to productivity and prevents burnout. Coming back to the burnout, like that awareness of these are my limits and I cannot push myself past that point, or I need that 20 minutes to drink a tea and just to have a breather in between things, is very crucial for sanity. You embrace the accomplishment and positive mindset from managing time really well, because in the end, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, all these high achieving people, they also have 24 hours in the day. So sure, they now have assistants and they have all these people to help them, but they have also come from nothing. So they've been able to do that too through a lot of output. You can reduce stress through organizational planning to really know, if you know what your day looks like and you don't just feel overwhelmed. My head gets so overwhelmed by thinking, but oh, I've got all these things to do. But if I look at, especially in the morning, and I know I have a really big day, but if I have my days mapped out, I have my tasks mapped out, and I have my days organized, I feel so calm because I know all I have to do is take one thing at a time and just go tick, 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 tick. I show exactly how I do that, which is the Lego inspired approach to task management. That is something that I developed. I've done it probably my whole life. It's a system that served me really well, and you can interpret it the way you like, but it's bulletproof, I can tell you. So, you develop strategic plans for achieving both career milestones and family objectives. Again, you can use that in both areas. It boosts your confidence because you have so much clarity around what you need to do in your day, and really track the progress towards your goals. This is what it looks like. So this is an example that's also will be in this presentation, the copy that you achieve. It's in my book. It's I explain that pretty well, but it's very straightforward. So you have these Lego blocks. I call them Legos, but they're big Duplos actually, but technically it doesn't really matter. And in the book, they will come as a black and white. And what you need to do is you categorize. You categorize things like, so I will categorize red and purple. And these are for it could be, for example, meetings that I have set, that have been scheduled, and they will be purple because they will happen. If I have something tentative or that I like to do, I put them in gray and I will use them as a placeholder. Then I have urgent tasks that might be magenta. Then I have when I travel, it's green. When I just have daily tasks and I allocate daily tasks in my calendar, I make them yellow. You see where I'm getting at. Like, this is just how I do things, but it might be different for you. You might use different categories, but I also have family category allocation, and I do the same for work and for family life. I use exactly the same system. And because it's color coded, it's really easy for me to read. I know exactly what my days will look like just from looking at it. I know if I have like a meeting filled day, if I have a travel heavy day, if I have a task heavy day, I know exactly what my days will do look like. And then I will map it out like this. On the right, you see my categorized color Legos. And then on the left, I will write down all my tasks and things I need to do, and I put a due date against it. And that is how I add it to my calendar. So this is something what my Google Calendar looks like every single day. And I have had people laugh at me for, oh my God, what is this? But it's completely bulletproof, and everyone who started to apply that in their day thought like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because it's very visual and it's very organized, and it doesn't mean you have to stick to it. Things happen in your life, in your work day, but then what you do is you take it and you move things around. So let's say you had a Zoom meeting in this example and has moved, which happens all the time from one day to the next, and you just move it around to the next day, and you see exactly where you have a gap and how you can make that happen. You can also see if you're like traveling or not. You can see all my greens. This is when I'm like walking and I'm on the road, but I can do a Zoom call. I can, depending who it's with or if I need my laptop, but I know exactly, I could have done this Zoom meeting. Like, I do a lot of them while I'm on the road or I'm walking, because I can do a call at that time, and I can shift things around, and some things are flexible, but at least I have a structure, I have a plan, and it's really easy for me to adjust. When things change in a day, I can just change them like this. I don't even have to think about it. I just move a Lego block around and I find a gap, and I have, if for something important, I have to move a few more of those blocks around to make that happen. I can make that happen because I have a real visualization of what that looks like. So there's a lot more clarification about this in the worksheets. These will be the worksheets that you will be receiving, and you can go back to the presentation slides to look in how I have done it. So we're already coming to an end. This time really has flown when you're having fun. But just to really look at the key takeaways again from what we just gone through is the power of clarity and focus. So you learn the importance of organizational planning to achieve clarity and focus in both professional and personal life, like your family and your work environment. And this approach enhances your ability to align daily actions with overarching values and goals and leading to more intention and purpose. Then the efficiency through effective time management. You learn the significance of mastering time management skills to optimize efficiency by creating structured schedules and routines. And then stress reduction and flexibility in planning. Like that is, I can only emphasize it again, how important that is to focus on your stress levels. And as much as we think we're invincible, sometimes we're really not. And I really had to experience that the hard way just recently. So, really, please keep in mind we're not invincible. Take care of yourself. You learned organizational strategies and reducing stress and promoting your mental well being. They're all very connected. Yeah. Really checking in with yourself and making sure you're focusing on the self nurturing aspect as well. You have that cup of tea in 20 minutes piece if that is what you need in your day. So, this is the link for you to download the worksheets. If you're watching this, you can hold your phone over this QR code and it will just pop up. You can also use this from the worksheets that you receive later, the slides. I would also very much appreciate if you could give me some feedback on the workshop today. There's a QR code over here. I really appreciate your feedback. I value it. I will read all of them, and it will just allow me to improve myself and for my next presentation to have an even better experience and for me to learn and grow with this. I also have a little bit of a nugget for you guys. So if you want to work with my journal, I have a free downloadable version of some of my journal sheets in this QR code that you can download. It's a PDF. And then there's another QR code with the first 5 chapters of my book that you can download
Oh,
to
wow.
read. So yeah, I've kind of
Thank
flown
you.
through this. You're welcome. Very quickly. I haven't really left space to ask questions. But Molly, do you have any questions, any comments you like to share with me?
Well, I love how you said priority and focus. And
Mm,
I think so often we put ourselves last, and I know that's so overused. Everybody says that, what have you, but the only way out is to make that change and have those hacks, have those statements such as, this is a priority. So when you feel the anxiety, when you feel the overwhelm, I talk about this all the time with in law firm admin boot camp. When you overwhelm is not real, it's an emotion, right?
mm,
Just like anxiety or what have you. So, the best definition I ever heard for anxiety is the root of anxiety is lack of information. So, when you feel it, you're like, time out, take
yeah.
the power of the pause. I'm a huge fan, like you're giving your beautiful journal now, putting pen to paper, like
Mm-hmm.
stop and name it and put pen to paper. And it's same thing with overwhelm. When you're overwhelmed, it's an emotion. And like you mentioned Tony Robbins earlier, like I love what he says is
Mm.
change your state. That's why he swears all the time. Like he uses that because it's jarring, or he always says, like, clap your hands,
Yeah.
like just stop, do something to like stop, pause, name it,
Hmm.
like, I'm not going to choose overwhelm and anxiety because I get it. I get it, gang.
Acknowledge. Yeah.
You're like, all of this is great, but do you want me to show you my calendar? And I've been guilty of saying that with my coach all the time. And, she'll always say to me, the answer's in the room. You pause, you have the answer. You know exactly what your next right move is, but you have to name it, put it down. And it's interesting because when you make yourself a priority, even if you're driving between work to home, and then you got soccer and you got meals and you got baths and you got all the things, laundry, just stop it,
Yeah.
Add a red light, even if you need to. I have sticky notes all over my car, my bathroom, next to my bed, everywhere. And when I
Yeah.
feel it, in one of my favorite books, and you guys have heard me say this a gajillion times, is A Body Keeps Score. And it's so true. You said you get sick, you get what have you. And we
Yeah.
all get to that place of burnout and breakdown, literally mental
Mhm.
breakdown. But behind every breakdown's a breakthrough if you see it as an invitation and an opportunity. So I love the priority and focus. So you're spinning in overwhelm. You walk into office, you had a crappy morning, your kid wouldn't cooperate. They were like, it was a nightmare. It's our only 9 a.m. And you're like, oh my goodness, I feel like I lived 14 days already. And
Mhm.
if you could just stop and name it and put pen to paper, and the gremlins in your head are telling you it's 700 things, but when you list it, it might be 70 things. It might be between work and what have you and all that. And that's okay. Like you're like, okay, now let's go to the diary. Let's go to the calendar. Let's look at this. This will take me 5 minutes. And you look at your list, and I do this. I'm like, all right, the first 16 things on my list are actually going to take me about 30 minutes. So, how about we just crush those and
Mm.
get a win and get a win and be like, yeah, I
Yeah.
got this. I got this because time is nobody's been able to manipulate time. Trust me, we've all tried. There's not 12 days in a week, there's not
Yeah.
72 hours in a day. Like, and even if we had that, we still would have the emotions, we'd still have the overwhelm, we'd still
Mhm.
be, carrying the cross and having all the things. But the only way out, and I love what you said, priority
Mm.
and focus. So
Mhm.
you're looking at all the things that's going to take you. And sometimes for me, I'm like, I really truly need to get these 17 things done that are going to take me 30 minutes. And then I'm having my cup of tea, I'm getting my book, I'm going for a walk, I'm going to
Yeah.
yoga, I'm taking a bath, and
Yeah.
I'm having a self-selected time out
Mhm.
before I move to item number 18, which I know is going to take 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and the structure of that to making sure you're setting the times for yourself. There will always be days when it might look different, and you will notice a lot more when you can't stick to that, what your day will look like and how crazy it might be. There's a chapter in my book on the before and after of my daily schedule, what that would look like when it was just
Mm.
how everyone else was doing it and what I changed for myself to make it work better for myself and how that impacted my day and my mindset and my focus and my output. There's also a chapter about dedication, like when we talk about the execution, like you have to be dedicated to be wanting to do that. And then there's that accountability to make that happen. But those sort of tools that keep you on track, that keep you focused, that give you really good structure for you to execute so you can make the most of your day and you can fit time for yourself and you can focus on your mindset. These are all just tools. Like even like you can get so lost in the everyday and the overwhelm of that, but it will always just get
Mm.
worse. The more you just keep letting it go, it would just getting worse and worse and worse and worse until you get to that point where you might have that physical reaction or the mental burnout or the breakdown or the
All of
whatever it
it.
is. You will always you it will always catch up with you. It always happens. So these are tools that are very useful, very practical, very applicable. Very, it's just very empowering and helpful, and you just make it how it best works for you so you can be the best version of yourself and for your loved ones and in your career and for your employees and show up for
Mm.
everyone and still fill your own bucket at the same time.
Oh, Janie, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you put a link to your book?
Um, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. If
But
you can
it's on the
email it to me,
website.
I'll yeah.
Sure.
Oh, it's on the website. Perfect,
It's
perfect,
on the
perfect.
website, yeah.
We have the tools, we have the QR codes. It'll be down in the show notes. It'll be parked in the back end of the academy. And I am so incredibly grateful for your time, for the resources, for the free tools that you have supplied to our members, to our listeners. And wow, keep up the amazing work. Thank
Thank
you.
thank you
And
so much for having
enjoy
me.
Bali. Enjoy Bali.
Well,
Yes.
thank you. I really appreciate being here today, and I hope it will help a lot of people. I'd really appreciate everyone's feedback. And if someone has used it, please message me. I'd really love to hear how it's working for you. And yeah, thank you for providing this platform, Molly. It's so beautiful and impactful and useful for people. And I appreciate being here today.
Mm.
It was very fun.
Oh, thank you. All right. Safe travels.
Thank you so much.
All right. Until next time, guys, priority and focus. We've reached the end of yet another episode of the Hire and Empower with Molly McGrath podcast, where dream teams of entrepreneurs in an entrepreneur's world really do come true. Listen, whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, or hiring manager, we fully understand hiring, onboarding, and leadership is expensive, exhausting, often overwhelming, and absolutely time consuming for the already taxed professional. Well, we have your back on all fronts. For 25 years and counting, we have transformed over 4,000 law firm teams into the most efficient, resourceful, and profitable asset of your business. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, and the 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com.